So first things first, I do a number of presentations and I talk in public a lot. And I talk in public a lot to beardy gentlemen who pursue things like ham radio. And I've discovered in the course of my speaking that I feel a lot better if just before talking I apply my facial hair of authority. So I'm just going to do that right now. All right, this is my facial hair of authority. I want to thank everybody involved in this, but facial hair of authority. It came from my shop, Kite 3 Collaboratory, and it was printed for me as a birthday present by Derek Quenville, who is upstairs. He will tell you about the miracles of 3D printers, which I will address in a few minutes. First up, though, I have been asked to tell you what DIY fabrication even is, and what it is kind of hard to pin down. But the best way of referring to it is that DIY fabrication is using tools that used to be imaginary or wildly out of reach for the average person to make things that they never really dreamed were possible. What I have up on screen right there, right now, is my Pinko Kami bicycle. I made it in an afternoon after somebody made some rude comments about cyclists. It will come as no surprise to many of you that I care a lot about that topic. So yeah, formerly costly or imaginary tools, what do I mean? This is a dragon. Now, this ornament came to my house when I was very young, and it showed up thanks to my mom, and she brought it home from Corning, New York. It is spectacular. I don't think you can even see how spectacular it is in that photo because it's glass. It's laser cut glass. The laser that cut this cost about $30,000 in 1987. In 1987, the average cost of a house in the United States of America was $90,000. That was a third of a house, or 3 cars. That dragon. Right. So I made 100 pigeons this year on the laser cutter I bought with my best friend on a whim. That's right. So that's what DIY fabrication is. DIY fabrication is making things that are professional quality with things that you didn't think you could ever have. The laser I made my pigeons on, and if you can just look at that detail, that is 1/8" cherry wood. The laser just goes right through it. It cost me $3,300, or slightly less than, and here's my use of an offensive stereotype, an overpriced handbag. That's right. So, it's the same price as a really appalling car. It's worth slightly more than the car I am rocking. But basically, a laser cutter is now possible. It's not only possible, it's cheaper than a laser printer in some cases. Maybe not the ones that are used to sell you toner. So, here's a better printer for you. This is a 3D printer, which is how I got my charming moustache. What this is a toy. This is a very expensive toy. This is not a laser cutter. A laser cutter is an actual tool that you can actually buy to do actual work on. You can rely on it to have a consistent way of producing things, and that means you can rely on it to make hundreds of things. This is a 3D printer. You can rely on it to make trouble. But you won't always be relying on it to make trouble because they are coming down. This one is a MakerBot, or as I call it, the MakerButt. It likes to light itself on fire a lot. But it still does what it says on the package. This, up in the upper corner there, is an STL I produced on a free tool called Google SketchUp. And through a little bit of effort and perseverance, and asking Derek really nicely, I received my brass knuckles. They say I am afraid of, because a friend of mine suggested that I do that. If you punch someone with them, then it shows up in like a bruise, and then you can just sign your name. I find it useful for getting dues in at Site 3. So, that was the first thing, is that 3D printers are happening, laser cutters are happening. You can buy these things for real, you can own them. The next thing that happened, though, is that for a very long time, microprocessors didn't really exist in a way where you could put them on things. Like, they existed, but you had to have a lab at a university. You had to have a chip custom made. You had to flash things with acid, I think was actually a suggestion I heard once upon a time. No longer the case. Now there is this thing that is called the Arduino platform. A platform is a combination of hardware and software, and where previously you would have to address things in physical space, like you'd have to actually scratch the surface of the chip or do whatever you had to do, now what you can do is you can go into the intelligent design environment for the Arduino microcontroller platform, and you can basically write some code. It's simplified C, if any of you know what simplified C is, but what it looks like is basically some complicated HTML, and then you can output to any pin on that microcontroller what you want it to do. We usually use it to turn on blinky lights, like you see there with the SoonCon 2011 badge, or possibly with some more sensors, that's Michael Vaughan's Pong Prom, which tells you how inexpensive this is. Casual academic art students can afford to buy this and do whatever they want with it, so what did we want to do with it? We wanted to make somebody who could shoot fire with the power of her mind. That's me. That's why I wear the moustache. So, I get the sense you're not really paying attention when I tell you you can make anything. But you can. And more importantly, to people for whom this is not foreign new ideas, but who this is a framework they grow up in, they will make anything. And the point of this is basically power. This is time. This is money. This is stuff that you can do with your friends that will impress the world. We made it into The Economist with this in our first year of being out there. They didn't credit us. It was very disappointing. You can build whatever you like with these technologies. You can do whatever you want with these technologies. Academia is addressing this in some ways. They're building things like Kate Hartman's amazing Digital Futures initiative at OCAD. You see it all over the place with what they call interdisciplinary programming. So what I run is a hackerspace, and that means that what I get is a bunch of people who are really curious about things. And that means that we have a waiver that says things like, please do not build the Herf gun at our shop. We can't deal with that. But it also means that I get the sort of people who are totally willing to just keep asking questions until they get an answer, even if the answer is something really unsettling. And I guess the whole point of my talk is that you don't have to be in school anymore to get these technologies, and that means they're available in Zimbabwe. They're not available here. It doesn't matter that they're available here. What matters is that they are written in a grade 8 reading level. And if you write things in English in a grade 8 reading level, that means they are going everywhere. And if China ships there, they're definitely going to start talking back, because we got our laser cutter from China, and that's where everything comes from right now. So you can do it. You can make whatever you dream possible. Dream bigger. Ask some questions. Pursue your dreams. As C.S. Lewis said, even the ones that make the ominous clicking sounds.